Good morning. It is a beautiful morning here in San Francisco, and I am just waiting to get going here. Hopefully, one of my friends will join me soon, and we'll be talking about beautiful places in Sonoma County, such as Petaluma, Healdsburg, Sebastopol, the whole Sonoma Valley, that type of thing. So I'm trying to live stream, but I'm not sure if that's happening or not. I don't know. Let's see here. Let me go back to this. Let me make sure. Oh, it is. I am live streaming, but shouldn't I be seeing it on Facebook? So anyway, I'm just waiting for my friends and other people to join me, and then we will get started. So I'm pretty excited about doing this today. Rick said he'll be on in 3 minutes, which is 3 minutes ago, so he should be here soon. I am going to share my screen so you can see the map here. And let's find the map here. Share. Sonoma. Shoot. Okay, Rick Avery. Oh, I got, wait a minute. Hold on. Sorry, everybody. I'm still trying to figure all this out. So let's go to Zoom. Let's go to participants. There we go. 3. George Hansen's waiting. Good morning, Georgie. Nice to see you here. I'm supposed to be live streaming, and I'm waiting for a couple people to join, so hopefully they'll be here in a minute. How you doing? Can you hear me? Let's see, I want to get my map up here. Where is the map? There we go. Let's make this big here. Let's say, okay, Rick Avery's coming. Good morning, Rick. Good morning, Rick. And Angela is messaging me. Oh, boy. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello? Can you guys hear me? I'm not sure I'm not hearing anything. Hello? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Oh, there, I hear somebody. Is that Rick? Hey, Rick. Nice to meet you. And my friend George Hansen's on. George was my very first broker here, like 15, 16 years ago. Known him for over 30 years, and he goes back and forth between San Francisco and the East Bay and Reno. He thinks Reno is boomtown, so we're going to be talking about Reno at some time. And here comes Angela. So Angela, George, and Rick are on the call. And I'm keeping an eye on the waiting room. We should get a few more people. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Give me a second.
Okay, great.
I get my video going.
I added a passcode this week because we had some trolls last week, and they were very, very mean and naughty people. So I have to go back and edit that, but I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet. So I'll work on it. So I'm going to click on Sonoma County and just kind of talk. We'll get started here. I think we got a few people on the call. And most people come on a little bit, you know, like 5 minutes after or something like that. So it's not quite time, but we'll get started. So I just want to say good morning and welcome everybody. My name is Rebecca White. I am a San Francisco real estate agent. I've lived in San Francisco for over 20 years, and this is my 16th year of full-time residential sales. I started with George many, many years ago. And I realized that a lot of people are leaving the Bay Area and leaving California. We're the most populous state, but people, sometimes the California dream isn't as alive and well as it should be. And people who leave, especially now eventually it'll be post-COVID, they want options of where to go. Somewhere more affordable, somewhere with maybe better schools to raise their family. And a lot of San Franciscans don't want to go too far away. And if you look on the wealth gain here, most of the wealth gained this is net gained wealth from people moving according to IRS tax data, are from Marin, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Clara, and Los Angeles County. So a lot of Marinites and San Franciscans are moving up to your neck of the woods. So the idea in this call is to basically explore what makes some of the towns that we're going to talk about today desirable, affordable, and that type of thing. Because the median price in San Francisco now is between 1.4 and 1.7 million, depending if it's a condo or single family home. And you're crowded and we have different issues here and there. It's a great city in many ways, but Rick himself moved from San Francisco to Sonoma, so he knows what I'm talking about. And the format of the call is that I've already introduced myself. You each will introduce yourselves. And then the first part of the call is more about the business or objective reasons why people move there. And the second part is about the more subjective reasons. So we'll start right now with your introductions. So Angela, just tell us a little bit about who you are, who you work for, how long you've been in business, where you are, and that type of thing. Take a minute or two, please.
Okay, yeah. I work for Prosper Real Estate in Santa Rosa, Sonoma County. We are a small boutique brokerage of 8, and we are ranked #1 here where we live. And we're really passionate, kind of tech forward, fun company who likes to help educate their buyers through the process so that when they're purchasing a home, they feel really confident and comfortable about the decision they're making.
Great, thank you. Rick? Rick?
Oh, we can't hear you.
Are you muted? You're not muted.
There.
Rick, there we go. And here comes Seb. So Rick, can you just introduce yourself, Rick?
His audio's, let me see.
It says he's not muted. Oh, no, we got muted again. I'm gonna unmute it. Okay, Rick, I just unmuted you. Wait, I'm trying to unmute you. I think I'm unmuting you and you're unmuting yourself. Rick, why can't we unmute you?
So Rick, go to the mute button with the arrow up and see if there's an option to change your microphone.
There, you're not muted now, Rick. Go ahead. Rick?
He's working on his microphone.
Oh, okay, because I heard him earlier. And welcome, Seb. Nice to see you here again. And Angela, just introduced yourself. She's up in the Santa Rosa, Sonoma area, kind of the northwest part of Sonoma County. And Rick is in Sonoma proper and works the Sonoma Valley. So they're both here talking about several towns each, and Rick is going to talk about Napa as well. Well, I will tell you about Rick. Rick has lived in San Francisco for many years, and for a few years, he went back and forth between San Francisco and Sonoma, and finally, he and his partner decided to just stay in Sonoma full time. So hopefully that's good enough for Rick.
You made a good decision.
Yeah, so he lives in Sonoma, I think right off somewhere in downtown Sonoma off the plaza. So hopefully you'll get your microphone figured out. So we'll start with you, Angela. So let me kind of go over the questions here.
Rick, are you? Okay.
Not there yet? Oh, because there's a chat here, Rick, but hopefully you'll figure it out because you're not. Oh, we lost him. He's coming back on. Okay.
The chat is disabled. I think he's going to restart.
I can, I disabled the chat last week because of those scammers. So let me.
I watched that. That was interesting.
Oh gosh, yeah. I need to go and what do you call it? I can go and I can do something. Let's see. I can enable chat. Okay, here comes Rick again. Rick, can you hear us now? So people, oh, there we go. Unmute. There we go. Good morning.
Does that work?
Yeah, that should work. Let me try to get the chat.
Anything. So sorry.
I'm going to see if I can get the chat going again. I disabled it last week simply because of the, I don't know how to get the chat going. Oh, security. Let's see. Allow participants to chat. Okay. Let's see if that works. And they cannot rename themselves because they were doing that last time and imitating other people. So we should be able to chat. And so I basically introduced yourself, Rick. So we're going to start with Angela, and Angela's going to talk about basically
the numbers.
Kind of the numbers, yeah. Like for example, tell us about the median price of homes, other market data, the economic stability. What will $250,000, $500,000, $750,000, and $1 million buy you? And maybe briefly about taxes and the overall cost of living.
Yeah, so the median price point here is $650,000, just above $650,000. That'll get you a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, probably 1,300 square foot home. And that's in the Santa Rosa, Rohnert Park, Cotati area. When you're looking at Sebastopol, Healdsburg, Petaluma, it is a little bit more expensive there. If you're looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in those areas, you're looking at $750,000, $850,000. There are a lot of new builds here, especially because in 2017, we were devastated by the fires. So we do have a lot of new builds, and you can get those for around $700,000. If you're looking at a condo, you would probably need about $400,000. And you're looking at HOAs that are around $400 a month. And our property taxes are 1.25, and our sales tax is 8.75. So a little better than Marin.
Great, thank you. So same question to you, Rick. What are, I'm sorry, were you going to talk about, you're going to talk about Petaluma and Healdsburg too, right, Angela?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So if you're, what we're actually seeing when we see people coming from San Francisco and Marin, their first stop is Petaluma. A very popular place to live in Petaluma is on the west side. That's the historic side. You also, when you're on the west side, you have Bodega Bay. So you're between Bodega Bay and 101. You have a lot of cute properties in Petaluma proper. You have some great Victorian houses, very beautiful, especially down D Street. Those are going to err more on the expensive side, though. You're looking like at $1 million.
When you say west side, does that mean west side of 101 or west side of the river?
Yeah, west side of 101.
I just want to make sure. Thank you.
And then you get out towards the country more, and there's beautiful rolling hills. It's warm, but if you're out in that countryside, you get the breeze from the ocean, and it's just really gorgeous. It's stunning out there. Lots of farms, vineyards. It's just a really beautiful place to live. When you head up towards Healdsburg, it's a different energy out there. The town of Healdsburg is really cool, has some great restaurants and food. A lot of the homes, when you go outside of Healdsburg proper, you have vineyards, surrounded by vineyards. One thing that's really cool that people, I think, look for, and Rick, you might see this as well, they like hobby vineyards. So people want a little hobby vineyard, something to play with, to feel a part of the Sonoma County community. And I always find that really fun.
Great, thank you. And Rick, you're going to talk about the Sonoma Valley, perhaps Sonoma, the town itself, Glen Ellen, Kenwood, and maybe a little bit about Napa. So same question, just kind of talk about, median price of homes, what you get for, 250, 500, 750,000, $1 million. I know in some of the Napa places like Santa Helena, it's a lot more than that. Right. Just kind of give us an idea of those things and your opinion, and just talk about prices, the market, the economy. People worried about prices dropping. I don't think that's going to happen. And just, I think your market's pretty stable up there. I'm just kind of curious what you think about all those things and what those towns have to offer people.
Yeah, great. Good morning, everyone. So first, I think it's important to do a little geography lesson here because it's really confusing with Sonoma County. Sonoma County is really big. It's about 1,100 square miles. If you compare that to San Francisco is only 49 square miles. So so that's a pretty significant difference. Actually, 1,768 square miles for Sonoma County. So there's lots of towns you've heard of in Sonoma County. I live in Sonoma proper, which is always confusing for people because same name as the county. But so Sonoma Valley is, as Rebecca said, 3 towns: Sonoma, Glen Ellen, and Kenwood. And I was looking up the square miles of that, but it's much smaller. The population is only about 40,000 here in Sonoma Valley, about 10,000, 11,000 in Sonoma. So it's a very small area, but it's a destination for folks. So it's about a 45-minute drive from Sonoma to the Golden Gate Bridge. So it's very doable for folks to come out for the weekend or even for the day. And they do, because there's a lot of wine tasting rooms. It's all about the wine country here. So I think that was important to note. And then Napa Valley is just over the mountain range, the Mayacamas. It's about 20 minutes from Sonoma. They're very, very different. Napa allows big box stores, lots of outlets, lots of big stores, a little more commercial. Sonoma, we call it Slow-Noma. And the reason for that is that Sonoma doesn't allow box stores. The only box store that we have, believe it or not, is the Staples for whatever reason. Of course, we have the big grocery stores and the Starbucks and Pete's, but no big chains. So it's a very small, kind of remote. It's really, there's no big towns around us like Petaluma, the whole 101 corridor in Sonoma County. It's pretty jam packed in there. So it's Sonoma is different. It's a bit more remote. So with that said, the median price in Sonoma is pretty similar to Petaluma. It's Sonoma proper, it's about 725,000. For all of Sonoma Valley, I think it's about the high 600 range, 600,000 range for the median price. What can you buy for $250,000? A mobile home. So seriously, you can get a mobile home for 200, 300,000, even 80,000. The rent space is high on those. They range from $800 to maybe $1,500 a month for the rent space. But we do have quite a few mobile homes in the area. For $500,000, you can buy a 2-bedroom condo. Maybe if you're lucky on a good day, buy a single family home, but probably not. Definitely in the 700 range, you're going to get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, maybe on a 1/10 to a 1/4 of an acre, and sometimes a pool if you're lucky. But $1 million will get you all of that and then some. So $1 million, you can get a beautiful pool. In fact, actually, it's kind of interesting fact. Most people, I'd say less than 40% of the homes here in Sonoma Valley have a pool. I don't know the reason for that because we have great weather. But because of COVID and all the folks moving up from the Bay Area, everyone wants a pool now. So if anyone needs a job, come to Sonoma Valley because the pool business is literally on fire. Seriously. So
I agree with that.
Yeah, right. It's changed drastically. So our market is literally on fire. Low inventory. It's crazy.
That is really funny about the pools because, as you know, hardly anyone has a pool in San Francisco, mostly because our weather is so bad. So let's have you continue, and let's talk more about the quality of life, the subjective reasons why someone might move there. And I know this is very personal for you because obviously for a lot of reasons. You both live somewhere else. You in particular, Rick, are a recent transplant. So what are some of the like the quality of life issues, like the schools, the medical care, the reasons to relocate and retire, such as attractions and desirability? You alluded to that a little bit already, both of you, with the wine country, which is a lot of why I love it up there, and it just the fact that it's so close to the city. But just let's talk personally and subjectively, and because people, when they invest or buy, they always buy with emotion.
Yeah.
And they cement it with logic. So we know the logic is good and that it's more affordable than San Francisco. Let's talk about the emotional and the personal reasons, and just things like the quality of life mostly. And I really agree with you that there's some really nice aspects of those towns up there. If I weren't so hunkered down here, I might be there myself, but I do want to have a second home up there someday, especially when I get my farm sanctuary going. But talk about the quality of life and the personal reasons why you moved there and why someone else would move to Sonoma and the Sonoma Valley and or Napa, please, Rick.
Sure. So as you mentioned in my intro, my husband and I moved here from San Francisco. I moved to San Francisco right after 9/11 from New York City. I was in New York for 9/11, lived in San Francisco for 12 years. And we always knew we wanted to buy a house up in Sonoma. My husband's first cousin grew up here, and she has a house, and we would come up over the years and have our own garden. So it's hard to grow a garden in San Francisco. The weather in San Francisco in the summer, as Mark Twain said, the coldest winter I spent was the summer I spent in San Francisco. So it's really true. The fog just blows into the Bay Area. But Sonoma, we do get some fog, but it burns off really early. Average temperatures in the mid 80s. That's what it's going to be today. It's really beautiful weather. We can eat outdoors probably at least 8 to 9 months out of the year. And we do have a rainy season. So we don't get, what's beautiful about this area is we don't get rain for like 6 or 7 months, sometimes longer, unfortunately. But so we do have a rainy season that starts kind of in November to May. And it does get colder, but for the most part, it's a lot of outdoor living. So the reason why we moved here and why most folks do is, like I said, San Francisco is very small. It's very crowded. Most people live in condos. They have limited supply of single family homes. So here in Sonoma, you can get a lot more for your money. There's lots to do outdoors. There's bike riding, there's hikes, a lot of hiking, a lot of mountains around. Not so many lakes. In fact, there's one little lake in Sonoma Valley that we take our dogs to all the time. But a lot of outdoor activity. So that's the main reason. So, we're getting a lot of San Francisco folks that want to move here now because one, they don't have to go to work. They can work from home, a lot of them, especially the tech folks. So the weather's much better here. Like I said, it's only a 45-minute drive to the city. So it's kind of like the Hamptons to New York, even though it's closer, Sonoma to San Francisco. And, like I said, there is a big difference between, so we're a tourist destination, just like Healdsburg is. Petaluma, it is to some extent, but this is definitely a tourist, Airbnb does a great business here. In fact, the county had to limit that because it was neighbors were complaining that, you have businesses in our neighborhood. So, but we still do have a lot of Airbnb. So that's, it's just a beautiful place with great weather and a lot of outdoor activity.
Great. Thank you so much, Rick. So Angela, same question, kind of the personal subjective reasons, because you grew up in the East Bay, if I recall.
I grew up in Alameda. Yeah. And I moved out here when I was 19. I was like, I just want space. So I moved to Santa Rosa when I was 19, and I really fell in love with it. The country feel. And like Rick said, Sonoma Valley is very different than the rest of Sonoma County, but even Healdsburg too. They're destinations. People go out there to drink wine and enjoy a long weekend and the beautiful weather. But the rest of Sonoma County is very different. Petaluma, Sebastopol, Santa Rosa, Windsor. These, it's got a really incredible sense of community and so much culture and diversity. And one thing that I didn't know how much I loved about Sonoma County until it happened is really how much we pull and come together to support each other in times of need. And that's something I didn't experience when I lived in the Bay Area. So I really love that about this area. I love the farmers market and the local grown food. And one thing people don't know is, yes, we are known for wine, but we're also known for our breweries. We have really, really incredible breweries out here. We have Lagunitas, we have Bear Republic, but we also have the Russian River Brewery, which we are very proud of because we have voted the second in the country, one of our beers that comes out in February, and people fly all over the country to wait in very, very long lines just to get a pint of. And that's really cool. So it's so much more than just the wine country. And there's the beach very close by. We have Lake Sonoma, incredible hiking. You have the redwoods. I mean, you have farms. You have it all here. And one thing that's really fun to do in the summer is our fair here in Sonoma County. It's a really, really cool place. So there's so much to love about it. And when you talk about retirement, a really affordable place to retire is, and a neat place because of the way it's located, is Oakmont. It's right there next to Kenwood. It's a retirement community. It's very beautiful. And you are a straight shot to Sonoma, and then you're close to Santa Rosa, so you can hit 12 and then 101 and go wherever you want to go. And it's affordable. You get really great places there. So, yeah.
Yeah, one thing to add about retirement, definitely Sonoma Valley is definitely a great place to come and retire. It's very affordable. So Oakmont is a 55 plus adult community, as just mentioned. And we also have Temlek here in Sonoma Valley, which is a 55 plus community. They have pools and tennis courts and clubhouse. And the price of the homes in Temlek are much lower than what you'll find throughout Sonoma Valley. So you can get a really nice single family home, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, in the $500,000 to $600,000 range. So it's they tend to sell slower, at least they did. But now during COVID, there's nothing available. Everything's sold. You know, the days on market have just come, down from 45 to 90 days down below 30. So we're in a very hot seller's market. So yeah, retirement, it's definitely a desirable place for people to come to retire. Easy lifestyle. What else?
Oh, there's the river area. A lot of people, I notice, are looking to buy little vacation homes in the river area.
Russian River.
Yeah, the Russian River. You're looking at Forestville, Guerneville. And when you drive along, there's Corbell out there. That's very beautiful when you pass. But when you drive up River Road, you can go all the way out to Jenner. And it's a really neat place. Again, you're in the redwoods. It's a little colder. There's fog in the morning, and then it burns off. But you feel like you're in a big tree house. Like in any house you go in, you're surrounded by trees. It's really beautiful. And then you get to go and frolic in the river. It's right there. So,
yeah, Sonoma is near and dear to my heart. I have a timeshare in Windsor, so I've been going there for like 15 years. Before that, I went to Sonoma itself quite a bit. My best friend got married at Vianza. They're members of Klein. I belong to a lot of wine clubs in the Russian River and Dry Creek valleys. And like a good friend of mine said, Healdsburg is the Beverly Hills of the wine country. So I love Healdsburg. I love what I think is really special about these towns, Windsor that you mentioned, Healdsburg and Sonoma, is that they all have these town centers or town plazas. And a lot of times in the summertime, in addition to farmers markets, they'll do movies outside, which I think is really cool.
Windsor Town Green. Yeah.
That doesn't really happen here. And I think that's amazing. And then I used to go a lot to the Sonoma Salute to the Arts, which they don't have anymore. But they do have the Sonoma Sebastopol, I think, as the art at the source. So I think there's a lot of artist communities up there, which I think are kind of interesting.
When you're in Sebastopol, have you ever driven down Florence? All the homes with the statues. Oh, it's a really cool little place. Next time we go. Yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of sum up, and we'll continue with you, Angela. Just tell us your top 2 or 3 reasons why someone should move to a couple of the towns that you mentioned. Just kind of sum up the top 2 or 3 reasons to move to Petaluma, Sebastopol, or Healdsburg.
Okay. They are family-oriented places. And again, that sense of community. So that's one wonderful thing. I think the weather and all the things to do outdoors, whether it's hiking, going to the beach, you're only a couple hours from Shasta or Tahoe. It's just a really great place if you like outdoors. And biking. If you like biking, you need to be here in Sonoma County. It's huge. And then I would say the next thing is just the serenity and peace. Like if you're ever feeling burnt out, there's only a 10-minute drive to somewhere where you can go and just take in the views and enjoy life, just feel good and decompress. It's a beautiful place out here.
Great, thank you. So Rick, what are the top 2 or 3 reasons someone might move to Sonoma Valley and to Napa?
I think top on the list for me or for most folks is the weather. So we just have incredible weather. It's not like San Diego that's kind of normal, average all through the year. We definitely have our seasons, not 4 seasons, but so we definitely have great weather here. So the second would be, as Angela had mentioned, access to the ocean, to lakes, to the mountains. There's so much, this is like the center, and within 2 miles, you could be at Lake Tahoe, you could be at the beach, you could be in the mountains. So the variety of, of outdoor activity is just endless. And, some folks might laugh at this. I'm going to say affordability, because compared to the rest of the Bay Area, what you can buy for a home versus what you can buy in other cities of the Bay Area is a lot less. I mean, you just, if you're looking, if you're a renter in the city and you're looking to buy, you definitely have affordability, to come to Sonoma Valley or Napa Valley and purchase a home, where in the city, you might be lucky if you can get a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo for what you can buy for a single family home. So I would say those would be the 3 reasons. And I think that's the main reason why we're seeing, such an influx of, city folk coming to wine country right now.
I'd like to add one more thing. Food, wine, and beer. You like those 3 things? Come out here. We got you covered.
I love all 3 of those things. I might have to come up tomorrow.
I think that's what really gets people out here, and then they fall in love with the rest of it.
No, you're right.
Yeah. I love to eat, I love to drink. So I'm with you on both those things. And it's just, it's funny, when I first started going up to Windsor, I've lived in the city for 20 years now. And I remember I would lie in bed at night and I would hear nothing. And I go, it's so quiet, I can't sleep. And then you hear like the roosters or the geese honking in the morning. And I'm going like, oh my God. Because I grew up in the country, kind of in Oregon before it got suburbanized. And it's just such a pleasant experience, and being so close, it's good. So, and one of my good friends, one of my best buddies here, he bought a second home in Glen Ellen, and he goes there like Friday to Monday, especially since COVID. And that's just, he's hanging out there even more. He just loves it being away, and he can be secluded. And there's, he knows 1 or 2 of his neighbors, but it's just such a different feel from the city. Yeah. So Sebastian, just so you guys, Sebastian's been on several calls recently. He and his wife live in the East Bay. We've been talking about Oregon and Washington, but they're not really looking to move for me. Sorry, I have 5 pets, so that's why I was up putting my dog in and out, and that's my bird sometimes squeaking. So sorry about all that. That's why I need a bigger home in the wine country with land. Seb, if you have any questions, just kind of ask them, because he's a lot of people, and just, I did live stream this. I will send the link to that video to both of you afterwards. You can share it with anyone that you want, and then it'll be promoted and that type of thing. Because not everybody's on the call just because of timing, but by live streaming it, there's probably half a dozen people or more watching it, and by the time we get done, there's probably be a couple hundred views. So Seb, do you have any questions for Rick or for Angela?
Yeah, good morning, Rick and Angela, as well as Rebecca. Yeah, you had mentioned the Russian River, so I would say I'm probably not focused so much on Sonoma proper and some of the more established communities, but I was wondering if you could talk to what the prices are for, say, a small cottage somewhere along the Russian River.
Okay.
Let me just interrupt 1 second, because there are Russian River homes like on Fitch Mountain Road, which is east of Healdsburg, but I think you're probably talking more about Gurneyville or Rio Neto or something like that on the west part going out towards Bodega Bay.
Yes. Yeah.
And Jen, is that what you're talking about? Okay, I just want to make sure because there's different parts of it. It goes all over the place. So the part we think about where people do go and like Gurneyville, I think what you're talking about, and going out that way, River Road and stuff.
Okay, so Guerneville, Forestville. There's two things to note when you're in Forestville. You're most likely, on a septic system, whereas in Guerneville, you're on sewer. And I say that because people who are not familiar with country property get really uncomfortable with well and septic systems, but once you get used to them, there's nothing better than well and septic. So a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, you'll see a lot of 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom properties around 1,000 square feet or less, probably around $500,000. And it just depends on how nice they are, where they're located. You have to make sure you're not in a flood zone. So you want to be up a little higher. And again, like I said, it's colder in the morning and you get that heavy, dense fog. And because you're in the trees, there's less sun. So it doesn't get as hot as it does like in Sonoma or Santa Rosa. But I would say for $500,000, you could get a decent place. Now, if you're looking for a fixer, you can get something for $500,000, put a little TLC in it and have a fantastic, beautiful property. But you're looking at a lot of 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom situations. You're not going to find like a big
What
house.
size of a lot might that be?
Very small.
They're very small, yeah. I mean, they're like little cottages on small. And the other thing though to note is there's a lot of windy roads. So you have to be comfortable driving up really narrow, windy roads.
Yeah, because one of my closest friends, her family, 3 of her aunts all had houses all within a couple doors of each other in the Rio Neto area. But then they got flooded one time. So you mentioned flooding and flood zones. How often does it flood, and what's the risk of that, and how can you prepare for that? Is by building higher, by having insurance?
Well, you want to have insurance, but it's really, really important to have somebody very knowledgeable of that specific area. Just like any area, you want a local agent, and they'll walk you through. So if you're higher up in the hills, you're going to be fine. And if you're lower, closer to the water, it floods. It does, especially if we have a really intense rainy season, and it can be devastating. So you want to make sure you're not low on flat ground and you're not really close to the river. But that's one of the very first things everybody discloses up front. When the last time their house flooded or when it flooded, and there's also flood maps that you can pull up and look at, and that's very helpful.
Thank you. I appreciate the insight.
Great. Do you have any more questions, Seb?
No, I think for now, I'm just absorbing. As you mentioned, Rebecca, I'm not sure if Sonoma is really sort of my focus, but I do, I'm learning each week. So, I'm keeping an open mind. And like I said, I've got a colleague and some people I know who have second homes along the Russian River. And, I was just curious. It seems like a very tranquil area. But I appreciate the insight on the flooding issues.
Yeah. Well, what's nice about somewhere like Sonoma for now, Like, for example, my brother, my father owns a place in Poipu Beach, Kauai. And my brother is saying, hey, we should sell that and buy a bigger place that we all can use in Kauai. And then once COVID hit, he just said, you know, we really can't go to Hawaii that easily anymore. And who knows when we might be able to, especially because our father's older. So he bought a place in Cannon Beach, which is about an hour and a half from where he lives in Portland. So that kind of, the coronavirus shifted his whole perspective on a second home. Rather than have to get on a plane, all they have to do is get in their car. So I think some people who were thinking about, you know, going somewhere further away, if they have to get on a plane, going somewhere drivable is easy, especially if you want to start getting out of town sooner than later and being able to go for long weekends like my friend Todd does. So it just gives you an option that if you didn't want to wait a year or two and wanted something sooner than later, you could enjoy, and then maybe even sell that in a year or two to buy the place in Oregon or Washington while you're doing research. So it's always good to have options and know what the options are. And that's kind of why we're here and why we're doing that. So next week is supposed to be Idaho and Utah. And we're eventually going to get to Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, New Mexico. We're going to talk about the desert, Palm Springs, Palm Desert, Cathedral City. Also, at some point, probably get to Reno and Lake Tahoe, and then to talk about migration between Northern and Southern California. Because one thing about California, you can look at the map here, is that people do move around a lot. And where we are, San Francisco and Santa Clara and San Mateo counties lose a lot of wealth. And I was kind of surprised to see San Bernardino and Kern County on there. Well, I guess who wants to live in Kern County? And LA. So these are the areas people are leaving, and they're moving to San Luis Obispo County, which we're going to talk about, like Avila Beach, Shell Beach, Pismo Beach. They're moving over to Reno and Tahoe. So all this is kind of going on in the future as well as the other states. So we've got just a minute or two. We'll probably get off a little bit early because I only had the two of you today. Sometimes we have a few more speakers. So if you have any closing comments or last couple things you want to say, go ahead. And then once this uploads to my Facebook, I will send the link to you. I'll keep you posted on the people viewing and watching, because a lot of people do come back later. This was the first time I did require a passcode, simply because I got trolled last time. But in thinking about that, I think that may have kept some people away. And they may have been doing the trolling because I put out the phone numbers last time. I didn't put out the phone numbers this time. So every week we kind of learn something and go on from there. But in the meantime, if you have any closing comments you'd like to say, Rick or Angela, go right ahead, and then we'll get out of here a few minutes early.
Well, one thing I don't think we spoke about was the schools. We have a lot of diversity in schools. We have charter schools, Waldorf schools. We have some really great public schools, Catholic schools, schools specific for art. We have a French charter school, bilingual school in Windsor. So as far as schools go, we have so many things to choose from. So if you have any questions about that, you know, contact Rick or I, because I mean, there's, like I said, there's a lot of opportunity out here for families.
Yeah, one thing I would add is just the change in environment since COVID that I think is going to be a long-term change for Sonoma and Napa. And that's just people wanting to, really love their space that they live in, and to have a yard, to have a garden, to have outdoor, easy access to outdoors. So I think, unfortunately, the secret is out that this is an amazing place to live. So, and the market is showing that, because as a buyer coming into this market right now, you've got to be ready. And we're starting to see what we've seen in the city for decades now is you almost have to go in. We're starting to see a lot more non-contingent deals. One house in Kenwood, it had a pool. It was listed for $919. They got 8 offers, and it just closed for $990. So almost 10% above the list price. We just didn't see that here before. You typically would get one offer. It'd be priced probably what they were expecting, and it might sit on the market for 30, 40, 60, 45, 60 days, and then see a price reduction. So we're not seeing many price reductions right now. So it's a very different market, and hard to, my crystal ball doesn't always work well, but I think it's changed for the long term. So.
And do you think because it's getting more expensive, we talked about this briefly during the week, Angela, Lake County, I wanted to get someone from Lake County, but that just didn't happen this time, has wineries. My sister-in-law's parents lived in Clear Lake for many, many years until they retired and moved to Napa. They retired to Clear Lake, then they re-retired to Napa. But looks like the number one source of people moving to Lake County as far as wealth is from Sonoma County. So do you think as people from the city moving to, the people mostly from the city and Marin move to Sonoma, do you think as that happens and prices will go up, are people going to be forced out and maybe move to Lake County where it's more affordable? What are your thoughts on that?
I think so. I've had two clients that, you know, they were in the very competitive price point of $550. It's an incredibly competitive price point, and they just said, you know what, Lake County is a better option. For that $550,000, they were going to get a really nice 5-bedroom house that their whole family could live in, you know, with a huge backyard. And people always are like, Lake County, eh. But what's going to happen, like in any market, you get in early, you wait and wait and wait, and everybody comes, and then you're the one that was the smart one, you bought in before it became the popular place. So right. I think over time we'll see that. It'll take a while, but I think we're really feeling in Sonoma County the pressure of people coming from outside areas, and they don't care about $650,000. They're like, okay, here. And they outbid everybody, and it's really just pushing everybody else out. So yeah. I think Lake County will see a lot of growth.
Yeah, we saw that here. I actually had clients who born and raised in the city, lived here all their lives, and it came time to buy, they bought in Nevada because they just couldn't afford San Francisco. So we see that already here, and I think it's going to continue to go north or east. Really can't go south too far.
This is Sebastian. That's an interesting point, because I recently, coming back on a road trip, my wife and I drove by Clear Lake, and it's beautiful. Although, you know, I've asked people informally, and for the most part, I hear more negative views about Clear Lake and the communities around it than positive views. But I agree. I mean, just taking a quick look at the prices, they're significantly lower than Sonoma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else want to say anything, or are we good for now? I will stop my my sharing and my live streaming. This has been fun. It's my second time ever for live streaming. And let's see, how do I stop that? Oh, I got to move us down over here. Okay. Anyway, thank you all for being on the call. And next week we will, so you're going to say something else?
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much for taking your time.
Yeah, Rebecca, thank you so much for putting, thanks for putting these on. I think they're great, very informative. And
yeah,
I'm sure it's, you know, if you continue this, you're going to, you know, continue growing your audience, because everyone's curious. Where are people moving to, and why are they moving? There's lots of different reasons of that. So it's really good to have this this format. So thank you.
Yeah, and we get more and more people. I mean, last week we had over a dozen, but then I think but a lot of them were not real people. So I was kind of reining it in this time, because people can always watch us. Like, I had 2 people reach out to me right afterwards. They thought it was at 11 instead of 10 because the first one was a month ago. So I usually have people reaching out, but there were over 30 people interested in this call and like 130 in the whole series. So I send messages to people, and we keep getting more and more people. And as they join the group and participate, we get more people. I think it's going to just continue to grow. It's still kind of in its infancy, but I really appreciate the support. Thank you for being here. Let me stop the live stream.